It's TV King of Bowling at Harrison Bowl up in Harrison, Ohio. We'll pick up our first match between Steve Miner and Doug Henderson, already in progress.
And Doug Henderson, very comfortable in the right lane. Let's see if he can tack a strike on here, and if he does, we'll be dead even through 3.
Interesting talking to Henderson before the match. You ask him how many practice games a week he gets. He says, not that, or he said, not enough. Too many.
As we said, comfortable on the right lane, match all tied up, 3rd frame. Bowlers are exchanging lanes that they're comfortable on. Now Doug, if he, here you see it, the score is tied up, both players with a strike working. If Doug solves this left lane, we're going to have a shootout from here to the wall, I'm sure.
The winner of this match goes on to play in Game 2, Kevin Hayes. Hayes we saw earlier in the year. And then the winner goes on to meet 2-time defending champ and some of the best bowling we've seen in a while on this show, Greg Lothian. As you see, Doug Henderson challenging that fact with a strike here in the 4th frame.
Now, Steve Miner, let's get a shot of his hand position if we can. He tucks his little finger. Now, we really don't see him tucking his little finger under right there. Now, that's not the recommended way to throw the ball, but a lot of people do it for comfort's sakes. It does help you rev the ball up a little bit more, but down the road, when you get old and feeble like me, your knuckles are going to hurt.
Well, fortunately, he hasn't reached that point yet, Bo, so Steve Miner with a strike in the 4th.
That was an excellent shot.
Bo, they're already qualifying for next week over in Durban, in the Hoosier state of Lawrenceburg, correct. Indiana.
We're at Durban Bowl. We have 1:30, 3, and 4 o'clock shifts left today.
As soon as Steve Miner throws this ball, you can give us an update on the scoreboard over there.
Left lane. Does he like it? I think so.
Oh, yes, and why not? A good mix on all the pins for Steve Miner.
Let's take a look at it here if we can. This is an absolutely fantastic shot. There you see him splitting the 15th board or 3rd arrow, flushly in the hole, 1-3, every pin doing its job, 10 pins in the pit. Steve Miner is throwing up a challenge to Doug.
And it's interesting because Doug Henderson never seen the lights or the cameras of TV, starting to stay with Steve. Steve, as we mentioned, 5-year absence from the TV King, but back, and neither of them are showing any type of buckling to the television pressure. Here's Doug Henderson in the 5th frame, right on the money.
Fantastic. We saw Steve's shot. Let's take a look at Doug's shot. It is phenomenal. Same deal, splitting his target, playing the same place of the lane. He's playing about the 14th board. Now watch this ball. Run right through there. No deflection whatsoever. Crushing the 5-pin. The 6-pin going to the wall, slapping the 10 out. That's what you want to see.
Henderson working on a 3-bagger.
Our players are tied to the pin. 5th frame. There you go.
Wow. Getting a lot of work on those pins, both bowlers.
Absolutely phenomenal. It's like 2 heavyweights standing in the middle of the ring, exchanging shots.
Slugging it out. Steve Miner. 3 straight for Miner, going into the 6th frame.
He is on 3 right now. Very potential, make it 4 right here. Let's take a look. The light shaker did not quite do it. Now, a lot of people at home say, well, what happened? The ball deflected too much to the right. It's something that happens when you don't quite release it properly. Now watch the ball jump to the right here after it hits the head pin. See it? Just does not even touch the 5-pin. The head pin actually takes it out coming off the wall. He's fortunate he didn't have a split, Tom.
Head pin was about a half-inch closer. It would have knocked out the 7.
Yeah.
And he would have had a strike.
Yeah.
No break, though.
An errant shot.
As Steve Miner takes out the 7-pin spare. Bo, we were mentioning we have a leaderboard over at Durban Bowl, and I think you know some of the people on there.
Yes, it's really neat. Chris Trenkamp is leading the board right now with 695. Our husband-wife team, Dale Hafley, is now on the leaderboard with a 693. And my husband, Lou Hudepohl, again, 684. 609's cashing for the men. And as I alluded to, Joanne Hafley is the queen as of right now.
Good. And this, of course, all afternoon, they'll be qualifying even more. We'll see if those leads stand up. Steve Miner with a strike in the 7th frame.
Right back on the track, as you indicated, Tom. Threw one bad shot, got away with a split. Could have been a strike. That's the good news, bad news scenario. But as it is, he's back on the track in the 7th frame with a perfect strike.
Doug Henderson rolled a 684 last week in qualifying here at Harrison Bowl. And this week, as we mentioned, remarkable. I still, Dave, having bowled on TV before, you know what the pressure's like. And we're seeing a guy who's just not buckling at all to the pressure today.
Well, that's the key to it, Tom. Bowling is the greatest sport in the world as far as I'm concerned. Of course, I'm a little prejudiced, right? But it's one of the very few games where you have no opponent other than the guy that's sitting right up there in your head trying to distract you. You are the player. You have to make it happen. Outside things like camera lights and people should not affect you.
Right on the money. Right on the money.
Six bagger. Let's take a look at it. Absolutely perfect. One more time. Let's look at his reaction too. Does he like it? You bet he does. Right side of the screen, perfection. Left side of the screen, perfection. It is great. What bowling we've had this year so far.
It's been super. It's been coming your way every week on Channel 5. Hudepohl TV King of Bowling.
You know, our average right now is 216. So that's showing that the bowling is
climbing every week. Started out about 210, 212, 214 last week, 216 this week, and Steve Miner is doing his part.
The situation is this, Tommy. Right now, we have a 21-pin advantage going to Doug Henderson. Steve Miner can cut that by 10 more if he can strike right here. 21, he can cut it to 11 with a strike in the all-important 9th frame. Big, big shot for this man. Got to have it. Unbelievable.
7-pin. Had ideas of going down.
I'm speechless. He threw a great shot in a critical situation. Now watch him. He really gets bad break right there. The head pin that normally takes out the 7 goes to the wall and comes off so quickly. It misses a 7. Steve Miner, in a critical situation, performs but does not get the results.
Now watch that all too critical spare game that you mentioned, Dave. I would imagine that you're looking at almost a half-inch down there when you have to make a spare this critical in the match.
We taped some tips, as a matter of fact, the other day, and we will talk about 1-pin spares, Tom, and we'll show you that really the half-inch you look at is not a half-inch. There you see the lead right there. Doug Henderson with a strike right here will sew up the match. Match is mathematically not over yet, Tom. We can only kind of add things up and see what's going to happen. There you see the culprit that stopped it, the 10-pin, a weak shot. It was kind of a prevent defense kind of shot. He knew he didn't want to open. He's enjoying a 21-pin lead right now, going into the 10th frame.
He'll take it. The hands went up. He was glad to have it. I guess so long as some part of the ball catches the pin. But we have some of the sponsors from Hudepohl here today, as usual.
If it weren't for the sponsors, we wouldn't be here, and we do appreciate their support. We'd like to thank the Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company for being with us the first 6 weeks, and we hope to see them back. Also from Hudepohl, we have Al Canturo and Bob Casey, who are our Sunday morning regulars.
They're always the cheerleaders here, and they're seeing a fine match by this man, Doug Henderson.
Now well, it's over. It is over. Even if Steve strikes it out in the 10th frame, he would lose by a pin if Doug Henderson walked off the lane right now. I guess that's pretty final.
Boy, I guess so. I don't think you could get any more final than that. Here's Doug Henderson putting the finishing touches on his first win.
Steve.
Sounds like Doug's got his own private cheering section here.
That's right. One of them a little on the young side, but that's what's great about this game. You know, young and old alike. My little girl's 5 years old, and she's not thrown, but pushed a ball down the lane already. But there are leagues for youngsters. As a matter of fact, there's a few of them around town. Bo, you might be able to allude to them, where they actually put carpet.
Yeah, they do. They put carpet down on the lane, and the bowlers do not have to throw the ball the entire length of the lane. But, you know, the kids have tournaments, too.
I know.
And the YABA doubles just finished up, and I'm so proud because my son and Ryan McDonald from Stumps Lanes won the Bantam division.
Little drum roll.
Starting them out young.
Super shooting.
He's been bowling since he's 4, and he's 9 now.
Wow.
It's a fantastic game. And on the other hand, we've got people that, I think I read an article in Bowler's Journal, that there was a 95-year-old man that bowls weekly, and he's still averaging in an area where he can be proud of it. There you see the score. Steve Miner, if he strikes, 226, but to no avail. Doug Henderson is the man that will go on to the next match, Tom.
That's right. He'll meet Kevin Hayes coming up in game number 2. This just for the pinfall for Steve Miner. And not a bad day for him. Henderson had a super match, 248, keeping the average well above what we've been averaging at 216. So the first match is history here, and the Hudepohl's TV King of Bowling will go into game 2, but recapping, Doug Henderson, a 248, 224 winner in game 1. He'll take on Kevin Hayes when we come back on Hudepohl's TV King of Bowling.
This small drop.